And we're live. Back at it again, motherfuckers. Hey, skipped a week, but your boy's busy. And here to do a late night podcast of the Bluecast. Here we are. There it is. Tonight's delicious brew, the Arrogant Bastard Ale. Oh, hell yeah. Mm, that's a real fucking beer right there. That's a well-rounded ale. It goes well literally with anything, fucking anything. So how you motherfuckers doing, huh? You guys fucking doing all right? Building up that immune system, getting out there, getting vitamin D, huh? How about that? Getting all that vitamin D, getting that sunlight on you. Um, Staying active, yeah. Not becoming a fucking fat ass, or even worse, becoming a fucking fat pussy that wears his fucking mask in his car while he's driving around. How about that, huh? How about these people that fucking wear their mask on while they're driving in their car with the windows up? Those people aren't going to survive. They're the first to go. Coronavirus, coronavirus are like targeting those people. Those are the first to go. No lie. And then the second ones to go are the ones that are screaming at other people like, how come you don't have a mask on? Those are the second to go. And yeah. Um, okay, so records, right? Music, the universal language. Yeah. I hope everybody's like, staying creative right now, You guys into some you guys making some music happen, you're fucking are you writing out there? Are you recording? Cuz this is the time to do it. This is the fucking time. You know? They're giving you free time. And of course, free time is great. It's great. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do with that free time. There's a lot of people that are still working, but if you're not working, come on, that's a lot of fucking free time and a lot of time to just do whatever the fuck you want to do and manifest some shit. All right, let's pull some records out. Give me 1 minute. Interesting picks. Interesting picks. Let's start with this one. Now, this isn't my favorite John Lennon album, but it's interesting that I picked it. Double Fantasy. And something about it, something interesting about this album is that it was his last album. This was the last one. I think it was released in 1980, as it says here. And yeah, he was just establishing his Lenono music company. So if he would have, kept living, he would have probably released a lot more under that name, Lenono. That's clever, Lenono. And it's a great album, man. This it's a little bittersweet because when I listen to it, I could just it kind of hurts to know that this was a guy that was trying to reinvent himself and he was in the middle of it, and he was also trying to like rebuild his marriage and you know um, fix a lot of his wrongdoings from the past, and then he just gets gunned down in cold blood on the New York City streets. But at least we're left with this, his final project. And some of my favorite tracks on here has to be the opener, just like starting over, great track. Watching the Wheels, phenomenal. I think that has to be my favorite. Or you know what? That one's tied with Woman. Woman is a beautiful song, and it just shows like all the influences of Lennon all across the board, from his early days, his early rock and roll days to the present, or the time that he recorded this. Um, I think Yoko's at her best on here too. You know, she's quite unique. I really do um, put her up there as a true artist in everything she did and everything she touched, and she has some good songs on here. Thanks to the help of Lennon, you know, helping her along. So great album, Lennon's final project, his swan song, and definitely worth a listen if you are a John Lennon fan. Now, the other one I pulled now from the future is Flying Lotus, his debut album, 1983. And Flylo is a DJ and music composer, electronic music artist from Los Angeles, I believe. And I had the pleasure of seeing this guy live at 3 Point some years back. And I hope that a lot of you got to check it out if you're in Miami. And this album right here, I copped this. This had to be probably one of the first albums I ever got, actually. When I first started collecting records, I was collecting a lot of Stones Throw, a lot of underground hip hop, like LA hip hop, and Flylo was definitely on my radar. And I remember copying this album, and shortly after, I copped Los Angeles, his follow-up album, and that remains one of my favorite albums of all time from this artist, and then of course Cosmogramma after that. This record is a great fucking record. It just shows how interesting, huh? I got this guy's last album and then this guy's first album. You know, the death and the rebirth. And cool album cover, as you can see. And it's such a great album. Just, you have this flow of music on here. And it's so unique because it's like Flying Lotus doesn't really sing and he doesn't really add any type of lyrical qualities, but he has this jazzy, ethereal, psychedelic, spacey quality to his music, which just really makes it like a voice. Kind of like Santana with his guitar. His Flying Lotus is with his electronic instrumentations. So, to me, Flying Lotus is one of the most important artists of our generation right now. And this is a debut. So, check it out and give it a listen if you haven't already. And that's what it's all about, really, you know? The death, the rebirth, the old, the new. And it's all about moving forward. It's all about looking forward. And we're here now, and time doesn't wait for anybody. Today it was a bittersweet day. I was going through a lot of old photos, you know, that happens. I have a lot of shit on my computer, and I was just digging through, cleaning it out, you know, organizing it, and just going through old photos. You know, they stack up, old photos and old videos, and it was it's crazy. It's crazy how much how time can accumulate. In a way, we're all like time hoarders. I think the only thing that I hoard is time and experiences. And sometimes time moves too fast, but you know, that's why you have those you have those pictures, you have those videos, you have that recorded music that kind of just is like a snapshot of time. It's like a Polaroid. And you're able to, why am I using this Polaroid reference? We have electronic Polaroids now. That's Instagram. Yeah. And it's good to sometimes keep a lot of stuff private to yourself, which is a lot of the stuff that I was going through is a lot of my private stuff. But it's also good to also share. And sometimes you motherfuckers be sharing too much. Yeah. I'm talking to you. You know who you are. People just have to chill. People have to know what to share and what not to share. There's a lot of stuff that, like what's up with these Instagram hoes? So, what are you doing? You opening up your butt for money? Nice. Your parents did a great job. And I don't know. It's I don't know. There's a lot of ways to make money out there, and getting on the gram and letting it loose. I don't think that's that could be the easiest way, But is it really the best way? But I think IG could be a good tool. It could be a great way. I mean, we threw these old Polaroids out. They're not important anymore. And we brought in the IG. We threw away the consoles, the Super Nintendos, the N64s, the PlayStations. And we now have computers, and we have faster machines, the 3s and the 4s and the 5s, and the virtual reality, which is going to be coming soon. And the singularity. And when the singularity happens, holy fuck. Hold on to your fucking seat when that happens, because you might not know what's real anymore and what's fake. That's going to be fucking wild. And porno is just going to be on a whole nother level. You're going to have to, there's going to be so many people going to fucking rehab for porn addiction when virtual reality just becomes a norm. Because now you have it all on your fingertips. It's so easy to just get whatever you want. Back in the day, you had to really work for it. You guys fucking remember this? Do you remember sharing the one porn magazine with your friends? When you get your hands on the holy grail of porn magazines. And I don't know about you, but me and my friends, we had a spot where we would put it behind the bushes and shit. And everybody would take turns every week borrowing it. And yeah, we had this spot, man, and that's it. You share the mag. Yeah. The struggle is real, y'all. The struggle is real. And now, at your fingertips, from the click of a mouse, you can have all sorts of fucking pussy. You can have all sorts of fucking shapes and sizes and ethnicities. And it becomes kind of like a buffet of pornography. So you can become like a fat ass and a glutton of your own desires. But I don't think that's going to be something that's going to be very healthy in the future, because I think it's going to just keep spiraling out of control. Just keep fucking just like fast food just kept spiraling. When McDonald's first opened up, it was, you've all seen the movie. I hope you've seen the movie The Founder, about Mickey D's, the humble beginnings of Mickey D's and how fresh the food was, and then all of a sudden the big fat cats come in and they want to control everything and get it out faster and quicker and across the country and more and more and more. And that's where you sacrifice quality for quantity. And I believe that it's all about quality over quantity because it's just more enjoyable. For example, take this fucking brewski. Yeah, a 6 pack is a little bit more expensive than your standard piss water, but it's just so much more enjoyable, and you could sip it with this kind of like reserve and this somewhat sophistication that doesn't make you feel like a complete douchebag, or it doesn't make you feel like you're wasting your time. Because if I wanted to get Perrier, I'll get Perrier. If I wanted to drink water, I'll drink water. Now, y'all like coffee? I can't live without it. I seriously cannot live without it. Look, I start my day like this every day. Every fucking day, okay? Well, Monday through Friday. I get up at 5:30, okay? Even if it fucking hurts, I get up at 5:30 and I ride my bike. So I get my cardio in early. I get to work, I clock in around 7:30, and I wait like an hour or two because they say that it's not good for you to. It's been said, it's been researched. The best way to enjoy your morning cup of coffee is not immediately. You don't wake up and then immediately get the stimulation. You wake up, you wait a while, then you make yourself your coffee. And the way I like to enjoy my coffee is freshly grounded beans from a good source, from a good place. Probably with from some good people like Peru or Colombia. And you grind up those fucking beans and you put it in a French press just so you can get all the quality in there. You're not sacrificing anything. You know, you're not filtering none of the good stuff out. And I keep the beans in the French press. It's hot water beans, and then you hold it there for 5 minutes, and oh man, that's my ritual every day. I need it, and I could live without it, but life is so much better with it. And yeah, the French press, and then and that's quality. And then you see the quantity side of things like Dunkin'. Ooh, holy shit. Isn't that the most garbage place that ever existed? And then you have fucking all these other fast food places that are trying their hands at coffee, and that's just fucking cancer. But it's quick and it's available. And what are you going to do? It's always going to be around no matter what. Like a nuclear bomb could fall tomorrow and like Dunkin' Donuts would still be up. It's like the cockroach of fast food restaurants. By the way, speaking of the cockroach of businesses, I read the other day, I saw an article, I believe I saw it yesterday, about the last surviving Blockbuster in the country. And this place, this Blockbuster, a lot of you people probably don't know what Blockbuster is. Let's just put it this way. There was a time before Netflix. There was a time before DVDs. And the way you would watch a movie is through a VHS, a cassette. And you would have to rent these movies, said movies, from an establishment called Blockbuster. It was the one and only. And or the library, if you're a fucking nerd. But you go to Blockbuster, you get your cool laminated card, and it was always so clean in there and so cool with their fucking blue and yellow logo. Anyway, they all went out of business. They couldn't survive, but there's one remaining Blockbuster in the country, and it's in Bend, Oregon. I may have that wrong. It may be Bend, Oregon or Bend, Ohio. And feeling I'm feeling in Ohio. Let's see. Quick fact check for y'all. Let's see real quick. Bend, Oregon. Shout out to the good people in Oregon. A lot of the people out there are a pain in the fucking ass. Probably the reason why I would probably never live there. But it's such a beautiful place with also a lot of beautiful people. And there is just the manager that is running that Blockbuster. She's doing something right. Because this place is surviving even in the middle of a crisis, of a pandemic. Blockbuster's surviving. What? People are still picking up their DVDs curbside. Holy shit. I still have my last Blockbuster DVD, or I probably lost it. I don't know. Like, I lost all my DVDs a while ago. But I still remember the last DVD that I kept and never returned because they went out of business before I can return it. And that was the movie, the documentary, It Might Get Loud, with Jimmy Page, Jack White, and The Edge. Great movie. Yeah. And I was so happy when I didn't have to return it. I was like, yes. Another one for my collection. And do you remember when like Netflix first started off and like they were like sometimes you would just receive random DVDs in the mail because you know, they got the wrong address. I remember I got this DVD once that was supposed to go to somebody else, and it was a great movie. It was about those giant cockroaches with like laser guns in like this post-apocalyptic world. You know, like it could be a true story in like the next 10 to 20 years, you know. Giant insect type creatures just taking over, and you know, because of the radiation and the 5G and you know, fucking weird ass people eating all this, you know, mutated animals and putting them in soups and shit, blending them up on with in Slurpees, you know. We're headed there. We're fucking headed there, man. But how about the fucking praying mantis, huh? You ever just looked at a praying mantis? And why do they call it the praying mantis? It's more like the I'm ready for my manicure mantis. The manicure mantis is what they should call it. But those things are badass, aren't they? There's these sick videos of the praying mantis just like, you know, there's this one video of like a praying mantis just like encounters another one, and they're just like, they do a stare off, and all of a sudden like, boom! The one praying mantis grabs the other one and just eats his fucking head. So that's nature for you. That proves that there's definitely no fucking Jesus, or there's no fucking good God out there, because if praying mantises are eating each other's heads, well, there you go. Our God is a sick fuck. But also there's a video of the praying mantis completely eating the head of a murder hornet. So there's our solution, motherfuckers. If we have the next epidemic is the murder hornet, well, let's just let loose a shitload of praying mantises. Those little pussies can't do nothing to us, but they'll fucking eat all the murder hornets, and the bees can go on living happily ever after, because when the bees go, we go. And we need the bees. We need the fucking bees. The bees is like the Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Led Zeppelin, Tesla, stock market. It's as important as all that put together in one. That's my point. Okay. So these murder hornets, they could take out these bees with such ease, and they just come up to a fucking hive and they just start murking. But the bees can fight back sometimes. The bees have the ability of ganging up on a motherfucking hornet, and they all just fucking jump them. And they start raising their fucking temperatures. They start vibrating really fast until they cook the fucking hornet alive. So that's one way that nature protects itself from larger predators. Or you have the larger predator of the bird or hornet, which is the fucking praying mantis, which just murks these motherfuckers like they're nothing. Just grabs them, Like, you ever seen how a raccoon just could, like, grab some morsels? He just sneaks up to a fucking, like, your cat's food. Like, if you have an outdoor cat, he just sneaks up there, grabs the morsels, and runs away. That's what a fucking praying mantis does with the head of a murder hornet. And then just skedaddles away and does his praying mantis shit. The fuck do? They just praying all day? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not fucking Steve Irwin. You know what's really important? Human connection. As in, many people gathering together to share a common interest. And we gotta fight for that shit. Because I'm seeing that, as every year passes, for example, let's start from a lower level. All the music programs, all the art programs, all the essential, in my opinion, the real essential programs are being removed from schools. And then you go on to the next level, and then all the music venues and all the ways to express yourself are being removed from the public domain, And then you get to an older level, and you basically just lived your whole life not creating anything, not just kind of just going along in the river, just kind of like drowning in your own bullshit, which was and the river is not made out of water. The river is made out of bullshit, and you're drowning in it, and the stream is getting stronger and stronger as every year passes. And then eventually just drags you down and into this pit of conformity. And the reason why we have these congregations of good people that have no other option than to create or to express themselves in some way or another is so that everything could be balanced out as it should be. And without that, I feel that, we're just fucking like struggling in the river. We're like, well, oh, the fuck. And it's just, the stream is getting faster and faster as every year goes by. But you got to fight it, You got to fight it. You either got to, like, don't fight it. Don't go against it, Go off to the side and break free. Swim to your left, swim to your right, whichever fucking side you pick. Just make sure you get the fuck out of that force that is just taking you where you're not deciding to go. One left foot on the ground, one right foot on the ground, one at a time. look at this. So I have some bookmarks saved here, and I haven't done this in a while, so I figured why not. So here's an article that says why non-attachment is one of the keys to a happy relationship in life. Now, we've all been in relationships, I hope, unless you're an incel, and I'm sorry. I guess there's nothing we can do about that for you. Yeah. But here it says why non-attachment is one of the keys to a happy relationship in life. And it says you might be surprised to hear that non-attachment is an important quality for healthy love relationships. Don't be. It's actually the key to a happy romance in life. Here's why. Okay? Non-attachment is a highly beneficial state of mind in all fields of life and in our relationship with people, with possessions, and even with our own physical body. Now, what is the definition of non-attachment? Now, what does it mean to be attached? That means there's something on you at all times. Even this article of clothing isn't an attachment. It's on me right now. It's going to be off for me tomorrow. But non-attachment refers to the state of mind of being objective and non-clinging, not clinging. And it springs from a deep consideration of the conditions of human existence. Now, if you truly love somebody, you don't become attached and you don't cling to them like if they're the only person on earth. I believe that leads to suffocation, and in a way, in time, it could also lead to some problems. But having this kind of flow of life where, here we are now, this is a snapshot in time, and how crazy is it out of all the people in the world, we are here sharing this moment, sharing this snapshot. Now, when you're younger, or you're young at your youngest, it could be this, it could be very life-changing. The first time you take a snapshot, or the first time that you take a picture with another person, if you know what I mean. I'm trying to say this as a metaphor, but to only be looking at that picture for the rest of your life, I believe that that's not healthy. There's something very, like, it's like if you're only, if they say to you, you can only eat this plate of food for the rest of your life, starting at a very young age, or you can only wear this article of clothing for the rest of your life. You can only listen to this one type of music for the rest of your life. You can only drive this one car for the rest of your life. Or you can only hang out with this one friend for the rest of your life. I feel that, we have these people and these things that in a way shapes us and makes us better people. But then eventually that allows us to reach the next level. And from non-attachment comes improvement and, in a way, evolution, self-evolution, or even better, which I have found to be the most effective, self-love. And you can never love somebody else if you don't love yourself. And that's the damn truth. So um, I believe that for you to really truly love yourself, you can't become attached to anything or anybody. Um, this is an interesting um, quote here from the Buddha. The root of suffering is attachment. So that's just something to think about, and it doesn't have to apply to everybody. It's just my opinion, just my simple, dumb, monkey brain opinion, you know, because at the end of the day, that's exactly what we are, just evolved monkeys. But yeah, I feel like, we should always be searching, seeking, looking, rambling, trekking, learning, improving, evolving, reaching, trying, hurting, and then loving. Now, there's also these forces, and I don't really believe in any specific religion. I think that's a bunch of bullshit. I think it's a waste of time. I think it was effective for a simple time when people couldn't read and there was no access to information, and the churches had the access to the information, and it would sparingly release it to people on Sunday mornings because they couldn't read and they were in control of the information. So they found it as a good way to control the population so that people don't go crazy. But now that we've reached that age of information, you have to kind of see everything with a different perspective. And I do believe that we live in the best time ever. This is the best. I feel like we're all just jaded. And this is a fucking time to be jaded. Just to be overwhelmed with info and with things, just access to things. But yeah, there are these forces of good and evil. I believe the yin yang is very real. And the yin yang exists inside of us, and it also exists in the universe. I think it's what holds everything together, this balance of the two energies. And I believe that angels and demons are like this metaphor, like this, they're painted in this caricature in this way that can be very like human-like, but they're far from that. And I believe that they exist in energies. And the good energies, which is the angels in a way, they're the reason why we're here. They're the reason why we're still breathing. And they're the reasons why we're going to succeed. And they're the reasons why we're going to prevail as a human race. Because if not, we would have already became extinct. And, the human race has only been around for so long. It's just been a blip of time. This is nothing. What a little blip of time that we've been in. It's such a blip. It seems like yesterday that we were just these furry creatures, trying to not get eaten by the dinosaurs. But on the other side, I believe that there's these demonic entities that feed on your energy. And they feed on human energy. And they I believe they're the easiest to get to you, because they're at this lower vibration. They live in a lower vibration, whereas the angels live in a higher vibration, and the angelic and the good, it's at a higher vibration. To get to that vibration, you have to work a little harder. You have to, in a way, fight gravity, because gravity is a motherfucker. Gravity will push you down, keep you down, and consume you. And along with gravity, I believe comes these lower level, lower energy entities. And many humans create and attract these unseen bad creatures through our thoughts and actions. And these creatures then feed on our flesh, blood, semen, and energies. Let me repeat that. These creatures feed on our flesh, blood, semen, and energies. And I believe they come in many different forms. They come in many different shapes. And they travel. They travel around. They travel from person to person, from space to space, from thing to thing, through space and time. And you've only truly, really mastered your energy around you when you're able to not let anything become attached to you. And that includes things like that. I believe that these unseen entities may be the reason why you're depressed, the reason why you're failing, the reason why you're in a funk, why you can't create. You know, they succeed when that happens to you, you know? That's their success. When on the other side, if you reach for the higher vibrations, they succeed when you succeed. And it just keeps getting better and better and better from there. Now, it's tough. I have to say, it is tough to get to those higher vibrations. It is very, very difficult. Buddhists dedicate their whole lives to get to that higher vibration, which they call nirvana. And they achieve it through meditation and non-attachment of anything, even of thoughts. And they finally get there. But, you know, us humans, we're just mere mortals, you know? And it's very, very difficult with all the distractions and the day-to-day life hustle that comes with it. You know, it's very hard for us to just go off and shave our head and just meditate on the top of the mountain for the rest of our lives. None of us have that access to that. A lot of us don't even have access to mountains, to a higher plane. You know, monkeys are always looking to reach the higher plane, the highest tree, the highest mountain top, the highest terrain. We always want to be on top of everybody. That's why the pyramids were built, you know? They want to be able to, you know, have some kind of, from pyramids to buildings, and from buildings to skyscrapers, and from skyscrapers to space needles and space stations, and then what else you got? UFOs, right? Somebody on top of that looking down, kind of like we're looking down at ants. We're looking at the ants, and these ants are just living their lives. They don't even pay attention to us. They don't even pay mind to us. There you go. That's what's going on up there. And it's fucking amazing. Like, you walk outside, and there it is. Look up. Whoa. It's like a whole nother highway, in a way. Or freeway maps, but we can't read it. We can't comprehend it. We never will, because we're just mere ants walking around doing our thing. You know, we just somehow know what to do. We are programmed and we know what to do. So when we just know, like when you know, right? Does that mean that we're a simulation? Does it then come down to that? Are we a fucking simulation? Are there people checking up on us from a higher plane, the highest vibration of them all? And, you know, checking up on these evolved monkeys that are just figuring things out. Just figuring it out. We can't travel space and time. We can't, what the fuck? We can't live in peace yet. It takes a fucking pandemic for us to clean the earth up. And if that didn't happen, we would have been fucked. The ice caps would have melted. God knows what would have came from that. Crucial animals would have become extinct, like the bees. And like I said, when the bees go, the bees go. That's it. We'll just be the next ones up right after the dinosaurs, man, to go. It's that fragile. It's the fucking fragile. But yeah, man, I've been riding my bike a lot, just staying as active as I can. Even getting on my board every now and then. There it is. It gets pretty boring to ride a board in Florida, but you know it's there. I got wheels, baby. I got wheels. I got the car, I got the bike, and then I got the board. Because walking is so fucking boring. Who wants to walk everywhere? Like I'm a fucking monkey. We're evolved monkeys, baby. We're evolved monkeys. And we need wheels to get around. It's that fucking simple. And I don't care how you give me the wheels. Give me 2 wheels. Give me 4. You give me 1 wheel, I'll figure it out. Probably fall on my ass many, many times. But I'll figure that bitch out. Like I'm a circus act in the 1920s. Holy shit. Can you imagine just being a part of the circus in the 1920s? And you got to be that motherfucker on the wheel, and you got to go out there every day and do the unicycle. You know? Even worse, you got to be a clown on a unicycle. Whoa. That must be brutal. That must be a brutal gig. Hey, but whatever makes you happy, right? That's what it comes down to. Arrogant bastard. This is a fucking powerhouse. It's strong. 7.2, but it feels like it's 9 or more. Fuck. Let's read the back here. I always like Stone beer. I've been drinking a lot of Stone. And I've been drinking a lot of Dogfish Head. 2 great breweries. I really regret not going to this brewery, Stone, because I've had the opportunity many times when I was in Cali to go, and I never went. But I did have the opportunity to go to Dogfish Head. And I'll get back to this little thing on the back because I really like what they write on their beers. It's really interesting. It's kind of like Lagunitas and all the stuff that they write on there. But Dogfish Head Brewery, it's located in Delaware. And I once was in that part of the country, and I decided to go with my buddy. We took a road trip up there to see a band in D.C., and D.C. has a great music scene, by the way. They have really cool venues. And, of course, just look into the Discord discography. Fugazi, Minor Threat, the punk scene, the rock and roll scene. But Delaware is right there, so we went to Dogfish Head, and I gotta say, to this day, I've never been to a cooler brewery with cooler people. And I wish I would be drinking some Dogfish Head right now. I do have one in the fridge, but I did pop that. That's like one of my favorite beers. The 90-minute IPA is one of my favorite beers, and I popped it for one of the past podcasts. So I believe it was a past podcast or the one before that. So made an oath that I'm not going to repeat a beer ever on this podcast. You'll never see me drinking the same beer twice. So here I was at Dogfish Head early. It was like right when they were opened up, like early in the afternoon. And we're just pounding away at the 60 minutes. 60-minute IPA, one of their best beers. Just drinking it, talking to the brewmaster, and talking to the bartenders, and just telling them about the show we're about to go to, and that we're on our way to DC to go check out the city. And it was really cool. Those people were really cool. People up there are just so fucking cool. They're so laid back. And they had like this really cool brewery on the first floor, and upstairs they had the venue where they have bands play. And unfortunately, they didn't have any music at that time, but since we were showing such interest in music, they decided to give us a free vinyl on our way. We filled up 2 growlers full of 60-minute to take to the hotel. We're like, yeah. And they gave us this really cool vinyl. Check it out. I still have it. It's one of my prized possessions. I never forget when I get gifted a vinyl. It's not a lot, but check it out. From Dogfish Head Brewery. It might be a collector's item now. Got it like in 2015. But yeah, it says a true collaboration of music and beer making. Rosabi EP features 4 original compositions from artist Juliana Barwick, blended with the sounds cycling from brewing through fermentation and packaging of Dogfish Head Brewery. How fucking cool is that? They're always pushing the boundaries. They're always coming up with the coolest fucking shit. It's like when the Flaming Lips did that collaboration with Dogfish Head, and they released like a single, and the vinyl itself had the beer inside of the vinyl. Those fucking freaks, man. They're always like just doing the craziest shit. I love them. I love Wayne Coyne, and I love the Lips, man. They're so fucking cool for that. I actually got to go to like Wayne Coyne's house once. I was playing a show in Oklahoma with a band, and the venue that we played, there was a guy there doing the sound. He was actually working as a bartender. I believe he was doing the sound too, helping out with the sound of this local venue. And he knew Wayne. He has worked for him before or something like that in the past. And we played our gig, and we were like, yeah, man, we would love to know where Wayne lives. Like, we would like to like pass through his house and at least drop off our vinyl, drop off our record. And he was all about it. I believe that he had to check up on some things and make sure that it would be okay. And then we got the green light, and he gave us the address, and we drove out there like late at night, like around 10, 11, and got to his place. And what a fucking beautiful place. It was just like, so humbling to see that he was living just in the suburbs in Oklahoma City, because I can relate to that. I can relate to living in the suburbs and like kind of like in the middle of nowhere, but in a way making something out of nothing, And that's what Wayne did his whole life. That same neighborhood where he was living in, it wasn't so great back in the day, but I do believe that energy is everything, and his energy was just so great and so powerful that he was able to influence his community, and he decided to never leave, even if there are some shitty areas, or if it was shitty back in the day. It doesn't really matter. I loved Oklahoma City. I thought it was a great city, and Wayne's place was so cool. And of course, I wrote him a letter and left him a copy of the vinyl, and yeah, that's that. That's all it is, man. There's been so many times where I've encountered my heroes or people that have influenced me, and we've crossed paths, but I don't like to bother people in their natural habitat, Like if I see somebody famous, or if I see somebody that I respect out in public, I'm not going to like go up to them and bother them, But I will do a gesture, like probably write them a letter, or like to give them a creation, something that's important, or something that's in a way made out of art, because I feel like that's a good way to communicate with artists. Pictures, yeah, fine. Like I was saying, I was just going through all these pictures in my computer, and it's just so digital shit. Digital just accumulates. It's just all like stacked on top of each other and put into folders and zipped, and fucking you lose it, you delete it, you fucking, it's shitty quality, but something tangible about the physical element of holding something in your hand, whether it be a letter or a vinyl. You never forget that, or even the mental snapshot, the mental picture. When I say these snapshots and these Polaroids, I'm talking about the mental snapshot, the mental Polaroid, the moment, the now, which is what we have. That's all we have is the now. When you figure that out, I believe you've won. Take now, you flip it, you won. And you realize that. And on that note, I gotta go, motherfuckers, because it's I'm gonna read this, and also I do want to mention that when we drove up to DC and we went to Dogfish, the reason for that was to go see Anti-Mask, which is the band of Omar Rodriguez Lopez and Cedric Bixler Savala, two of my most influential musicians to me, of all time. And La Bucheretes opened up for them, which is another amazing band. And we drove from Florida all the way up there, and we just made it a road trip. We just had fun. We lived in the now, man. My buddy and I, and tried to invite some other friends out, and they couldn't make it. Whatever, blah blah blah. But that was one of the best trips of my life. And after the show, the place where they played at was called the Rock and Roll Hotel, 3 floors. On the second floor, some of the musicians were coming in and out, and Cedric Bixler, in my opinion, one of the greatest singers of all time, there he was. He was walking out, and I saw him, he saw me, and then he walked on by, and I could have been annoying. I could have went up to him and been like, "Oh my God, man, dude, you're like the fucking coolest singer ever." But how many times have they heard that? I had nothing on me. I had nothing to give, you know, except my fucking fandom. And that's boring. That's annoying, you know. If I would have had probably like something of value, something important, something that I created, I probably would have approached the man. But other than that, there's no point in that. Something that I am proud of, an encounter that I am very proud of. One time I got to bartend the Radiohead concert at AAA. This was some years back. I want to say 2016 or 17. 2016 sounds right. And I was one of the only. There was only two bartenders on the floor. So the AAA is this arena in Miami, and they only allowed two bartenders to bartend the floor. So that's where like everybody's standing. You know, like the big fucking the best area that you can be in for like a Radiohead concert, which is like the closest to the stage. And there we are, just slinging beers the whole time. So I also got a really nice view of the stage while I was working. So while I was making this fucking cash money, while I was making this fucking bread, I was also able to see one of my favorite bands of all time, fucking Radiohead, right in front of me. There they were. And whatever, you know, end of the show, venues just picking everything up, you know, as they do, which is amazing. You know, it's quick how they do it. They just like fucking, they could set up a stage and then break it down just as quick. And we close the till, we got to count everything, and I'm on my way out. I'm leaving, and I got to leave through like the back area, you know. And there I see the trucks backing up and putting all the fucking instruments and all the stuff in. And as I'm walking out, I just see like a huge, like this fucking just group of people just like all like just fanning out like on a fence. And I get closer, you know, I'm walking towards the commotion. And as I look on the other side of the fence, there's the man. There he is, Tom York, the one and only, the singer, the frontman of Radiohead. And he's, you know, grabbing people's like merch or albums or whatever to sign over the fence. And there's a huge fucking bodyguard by his side. And, which is understandable, of course. And I'm like, fuck, man. Like, this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity, you know. And Radiohead is this kind of band which is like, for me, it's like I've been listening to them since I was a kid, you know. I seek them out. I search them out. I was always trying to find, you know, who's the most influential, who's the best. And when they hit my radar, I just never looked back. And you know, OK Computer was like that introduction to that group. And their message has always been the same in a way. It's been like this very important message and groove, that this groove message and this music that just makes you feel so good to be part of the universe. It just makes you feel good to be here right now. That's what Radiohead's music is all about. Unfortunately, you know, I had nothing to fucking, you know, I don't like to get signatures anyways. But you know what I had? I had a pocket full of cash from the tips that I made. So I took $1 from that fucking roll of cash and I decided to, you know, go for it. And I got Tom's attention. I was like, hey, Tom, can you sign this piece of paper for me? And he looked up. He had a copy of Hail to the Thief in his hand that he was about to sign. He's like, all right. And he slapped it on the copy of Hail to the Thief. And he signed my fucking dollar bill on top of Hail to the Thief. Fucking life, right? Let me show you that real quick. Took a while. My collection's getting pretty fucking big. There it is. The album that introduced me to this fucking amazing band. And there's Tom's Dollar. Forever. Okay, computer. It's time to say goodnight. On that note, fitter, happier, more productive, like a pig in a cage on antibiotics.